welcome to our exciting webinar on online booking. And we've got lots of people joining us from all around the place tonight. More people turning up as we speak. And I'm going to now put up our slides so you can actually see the screen. There we go. And let me just put this up to the top here. All right. Now, as just before we get stuck into a little bit of housekeeping, if anyone has a question, please type it into the chat box. That'd be great. We'll be able to see that coming through. And we will go, it's 8 o'clock now, we'll go till 8:30 and happy to answer any of the questions that come through. If possible, we'll finish at 8:30, but there are lots of questions we might go over. We are recording it, as we always do, so you'll get a copy of it. And for those of you who haven't been able to attend, you'll get that sent to you as well, which is great. All right, so we're doing traffic and online booking and how they work together. So what I mean by traffic is online traffic, so people visiting your website or your web assets, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then we're talking about how that relates to online booking for your clinic. All right, so two very special guests tonight, or presenters. Myself, James, as most of you know. In fact, I think I know everyone here tonight, which is really good. There's a couple of newbies. Welcome, thank you. And my special guest tonight is Julian from Bitstoria. Hello, Julian.
Hi, everyone. Not that special, but...
Thank you for joining us. I'm really happy that Julian's joining us tonight. One of the things that we've found over the last few months is that online booking is becoming much more significant for some of our clients, some of our vets, and for a lot of clinics who haven't taken it up, we're getting a lot of questions about how it works and whether it's worth it. So I thought tonight would be a good opportunity to have a discussion with Julian, who runs one of the leading online booking services in the world. Bitstoria, which you probably are aware of and some of you will be using. And in particular, there's a strong connection between having a very good online presence, which is the area that we look after for a lot of you guys tonight, and having an effective online booking service. So the first part of the presentation tonight will be me talking mostly, and Julian, please jump in if you have any questions or comments. About the role of getting good traffic online, and that's setting it up so that you can understand how that relates to online booking. And then Julian's going to get stuck into online booking. Now, to kick it off, we've got a really good case study. I'm really grateful that Dave Allen at Animal Medical Centre in Tassie has agreed to share his experiences. So Dave uses PetPack to generate traffic for his website and from other sources, and he also uses Bitstoria for online booking, so it's a good connection. And just one word I would say before we go any further is that PetPack, we don't have any particular alliance with Bitstoria. We just like what they do, and I thought it was a really good idea to use Bitstoria as an example, particularly as we've got a very good case study here tonight. So Dave is quite a remarkable vet in that he is quite innovative. So a lot of vets are innovative, but he will do, so you know, that's not the thing that's most remarkable. The second thing is that he's prepared to measure the impact of his innovations. Online booking would be one of them. And then thirdly, if he finds that something needs to be changed in his business because of what he finds, he makes a change. An example of that would be, we did call tracking with him, advised him on his call tracking, and he found that because he was tracking his phone calls, he missed 1,000 calls between February and June last year, approximately, which was a bit of a shock to him. In fact, the percentage of calls that he missed was no different to every other practice, so that's a message for everyone here. But he then went and changed his front desk operation to cope with that and maintains a tracking system so that he can keep on top of it. So he's a really good one to complete the feedback loop to us about innovations in technology. So the basic message from Dave is that online booking is worth it. And that's a big thing. So he finds a range of benefits it's going well from his perspective, but also from his client's perspective. We've got some stats here. He's generating 60 or more appointments a month for the last 6 months, and that grew from about 30 a month over 12 months ago. So that's online bookings. And one of the key things is that he finds that his clients find it particularly convenient. It's also helping him take pressure off his front desk. Remember I said that he missed a lot of calls on the front desk? Part of the issue was the front desk staff getting swamped, and having online booking has taken the pressure off that. That's part of the solution for him in that respect. From his point of view, the cost of running the online booking is small, he sees it as being worth it. The other thing too is that we work with him to build the traffic in his website so that he's got good traffic flows coming in, and that's helping to make the online booking effective. So basically the message tonight is the more people visiting your website, the better, because you'll get more people booking using an online booking tool. And there's a little graph down here, obviously a lovely picture of Dave, but a little graph down here of the growth in bookings over time. All right, so just talking about traffic now for a minute. This is really how traffic and online booking work together. So basically, to repeat myself, the more online traffic you get, the more online bookings will be made. And we use the word SEO pretty loosely, but it basically means helping search engines connect you with your customers, and that's what we do. The better you can set your website up and your associated tools, the better off. So for instance, on this little picture here, you can see this is a mobile phone, and the important thing is that 80% of all local business search is now coming off phones. So you really need to capitalize on this screen. So you can see Eltham here has an ad running. They also have a map system called Google My Business running as well, and both those things will contribute to those calls. So the better those things are set up, the better volumes of traffic will be coming into your website, and the more online bookings you'll get. All right, next page. This is talking about the 3 main strategies that we use to generate online traffic. And some of this is, I'm repeating this for some of you guys because you already do it, but it's important to establish why this is important. So we've got this same screen here for Eltham. So we've got the 3 main strategies are using ads to get traffic in. That's probably about 20% of your traffic coming in. Google My Business, which is this map area, or over here, it's the entire listing here. That will be generating about 40% of the traffic coming into the website if it's set up correctly. And then thirdly, you've got your website here, and that will be generating about 40% of the traffic as well. So the idea is to set your website up correctly, set your AdWords up correctly and your Google My Business so that Google connects you with more people, and the more people it connects you with, the more traffic you get. Now, I just want to show you a couple of case studies of the impact of good traffic flows on online booking. So we've got on the left here, we've got an unimproved vet clinic website, and an unimproved vet clinic website would be the case for most vet practices where they haven't invested in their online. And the typical stats for an unimproved vet clinic website would be where you have unique visitors would be about 500 people visiting the website per month. And that's as tracked through Google Analytics. And the phone calls generated off that would be about 50 phone calls. The online bookings you'd get from that would be about 30. That's an approximation. And it's important to note also that unless work has been done on the call tracking, that clinic will be missing 10 to 20% of their calls. Now, if you compare that to a high performance website, so here's an example one over here. These numbers are made up numbers, but they are indicative of what high performance clinics will achieve. Unique visitors will be 3 times the unimproved. So that's 1,500. The total calls they'll get per month will be around 300. And so their online booking is going to be looking at around about 100, maybe 100 plus. So there's a significant increase there. And their missed calls will be reduced because they're looking at their call tracking and changing their front desk operations. But the key point is the online bookings go up with the increased number of visitors visiting the website. All right, now just before we go to the next slide, I'm just going to have a look and see whether we have any, are there any questions, anyone out there before we go to the next section? No, that's good, all right. Okay, so I'm going to flip to the next slide, and Julian's going to say a few words. If I can hand over to you, Julian, please.
Thank you. Okay, so Jim explained just now the importance of the SEO and the fact that your website should have a good ranking. So now I'm going to explain how you can convert these people visiting your website into customers, okay, and why the online booking system can be part of this. And I'm going to explain you this through important statistics who are generated by our current user. So first of all, we have, through a user, 50% of the appointments which are made out of hours. The second statistic is the fact that 17% of the appointments made online are done by new customer. And it is quite easy to understand and to imagine. You have active people, they have a job, they work during the day, okay, or either they're busy like all of us, and it's booking during your normal opening time is not convenient for them, okay, they're busy, okay, so booking appointment in the evening or either during the weekend is much more convenient for them, it suits them. So they are looking for that, they browse the web, they find a website, okay, where an online booking system is available, and they are going to book their first appointment. Okay, this is why the percentage of appointment made by new customer is very important. The third information is the fact that if you have an online booking tool available on your website, it's going to drive traffic. People will use this page, and just by itself, it's going to improve your SEO and your ranking. Okay? If you can move to the next slide, James, please, thank you. So yeah, so this slide, I do apologize in advance. This is the annoying and boring math-heavy slides, but I have to explain you these figures just to show you the value of the online booking system. So if we look at the case study, so the clinic of Dave, over 12 months, 87 new clients book their first appointment online, okay? And if we look at the value, the long-term value generated by these 87 clients, we will reach around $300,000. So to do this long-term value calculation, we are using the data that are largely, I would say, accepted in Australia. The fact that the ATV is around $220, and the fact that the lifetime value for clients is around 8 years. I know it can vary depending if you live in a city or more countryside area, but roughly this is largely accepted. Okay, so 87 clients, $300,000. So if we consider that, let's say we are using very conservative value here and say, okay, only 5% of these clients have booked their first appointment because the online booking was available, we still have a return of 15,000. Okay, and here I'm not talking at all about the benefit for existing customer, the fact that it's improving your reminder. So I'm just really focusing on this new client joining and only saying that 5% have been joining because the online booking system was there. And if we look at this 15,000, we are on 9 times the cost of the online booking tool itself. So really, coupled with a good SEO, you would generate new clients, and a tiny percentage of this will generate much more of than the cost of your online booking tool subscription. Okay, so if you can move to the next slide, James. So online booking is the future. That's kind of a big statement, but that's obvious. I mean, there will be no less online booking system in the future. That's just the way it is. Across all the other industry, whether we are talking about airlines, hotel, restaurants, hairdresser, whatever industry we are talking about, there is more and more online booking system every year. Okay, and there is no reason why healthcare will be out of this general trends. So there is this Accenture study who was published I think 2 years ago that says that in the US by 2019, 66% of the healthcare system will offer online booking. And they also say they reckon that 38% of the appointment will be made online. It will be the same trends for the veterinary practice. Okay. Next slide. So just one very, very quick comment. I know that for a practice that hasn't started using an online booking system, it can be a little bit scary, okay? Because this is a change, or not really a change, but this is something new, okay? And vet receptionists, they want to keep control of their schedule. What I can say is that a good online booking system allows that, okay? It has to be very simple for the client, but the system at the back has to allow a complex clinic organization. And I know that there is loads of different clinic setup. We see that every day across all the clients. The system can handle very complex, I would say, diary and vet organization. Okay, we do the setup for you. Okay, and also the fact that a lot of clinics have already started and none have stopped it. So really, for us, and I think that it's important, is the fact that it's just a question of time. It's not really, are you going to take an online booking system? I think that you will do. It's just a question of when you're going to start it. Okay, it's just the way it is, and I can see that in other countries where it's growing a lot. I mean, we have country in Europe now, we have like nearly 40% which have online booking already, and this has really started 2 years ago. So yeah, giving you the rest of the slide, James, for you.
So before I jump onto my bit, I just wanted to ask you a couple of things, Julian. We've got a few more minutes.
Okay.
And maybe just discuss it a bit. I think consumer behavior is an important one to talk about. So early on, if I go back up to this little slide here, I was talking to people about how 80% of local business search is now done on phones. What I didn't mention or talk about was the behavior of consumers to want to action things on their phones as well. And I think it's important for the people listening tonight to think about their own behavior as a consumer when they're at home, doing things on their phone. So, for instance, a really good one is doing Uber Eats or booking an Uber, or getting a takeaway. Increasingly, just the other day, and I'm talking anecdotally here, but just the other day, I was on the plane and I saw a picture in a magazine for some shoes that I wanted to get. I thought, oh, that's pretty good. And I told my partner, I said to her, look, I saw this great picture of shoes. He goes, oh, let's see whether we can get them now. And I went, what do you mean? And she just picked up her phone, and she's a lot more au fait with e-coms on her phone, but she bought those shoes probably in about 2 or 3 minutes, just bang on the phone like that. And I'm talking about this because it's quite noticeable that most vet clinics don't provide an online booking service. And yet I think from the consumer's perspective, they're getting to the point where they're wondering why you don't do it. And I hope that's not meant to be, I hope that's obvious to you. And I think Julian's already said it, that it is a matter of time, but I think it's something that you will find that your clients actually enjoy. It's something that makes a lot of sense. Any comments on that, Julian?
Well, yeah, it's, I mean, for me, the comment about the phone makes total sense, okay? Because I haven't mentioned the statistics, but we have 50% of the booking or for booking which are made through mobile device. Okay, it's actually more than 50% if we consider a mobile phone and tablets. Okay, it represents probably around 60% of the booking. Okay, so that's why, and the behavior of clients on the mobile device is very specific. They just use Google. Okay, so that's why I think that the visibility on Google is critical. Okay, for us, the importance is to be extremely visible on Google, and that's why the SEO is critical. Okay, the online booking system is the second step to this. Okay, if you are not visible on Google, okay, it's gonna be tricky for you to be, I would say, to have a good visibility for the online booking system. You will book appointments, but when we are talking about generating new clients, both are really tied together. Okay. But I don't have much more to add. I think what you said makes total sense.
All right. So the other thing I wanted to talk about too was the ease of setup. Now, you've talked about how you look after the integration with the practice management software, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing that people ask us is, how easy is it to put online booking into the clinic website? And I would say it's straightforward. So if any of you guys want to do online booking and you want to set up on your website, all you need to do is ask us to do it. We'll do it as part of your normal website support service, and it's straightforward. The most complicated bit is at Julian's end, and then you can have little buttons on your website where people can book. And do you want to say anything about briefly about how typical setups for an online booking system? You know, when the vet says, "Oh, you know, I want to have this and this," what would be the typical sort of arrangement you'd have?
Well, first of all, if I can jump in on the first part of the conversation, is the fact that we integrate into website. For us, it's very important that we integrate it to your website, to the website of the clinic. We don't really want to show our brand to the pet owner. Our brand is for the vet. The client doesn't have to know that they book on Vetstoria. For us, it doesn't make sense. It's critical that we push the user towards the website of the clinic. Okay. Yeah. More traffic, as I said, more traffic to your website is part of the process to improve your SEO. So really, for the pet owner, our main objective is to push the brand of the vet, and that's for us extremely important. Yeah. You'll be more visible on Google if your brand is visible. If Vetstoria is visible, it's not going to push your brand. You will not have more client booking online. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now, if I go back to the second part of the question, which is what's a typical setup? So first of all, if you're interested, we do a demo of the system for you. So as I said, the system looks very simple for the pet owner. But at the back, there is quite of a complex system. Complex doesn't mean complicated. I mean, complex means there is loads of features that will allow us to handle the setup of your own clinic. And there is no two identical setup across our client. It's always different. And we can handle any setup because we have all these features that will allow us to handle this request and another one. Okay, so you can have a demo if you're interested, but basically you just tell your practice management software, okay, I would like to use the online booking system. Okay, you are sent a registration, you fill, I would say, basic setup form. Okay, and then we do all the setup for you. You receive a test link, that's what we call it, but basically you can play with the system, book appointment in your PMS, see if it's working. And then after that, okay, when you've played a little bit with the system, we have a conference call, like the one we have now, where we are going to customize and do the fine-tuning of the system just to make sure that the appointments are coming at the right time with the right vet, right day of the week, and we just do the fine-tuning basically. And after that, you say, yes, okay, I'm happy to go live, and then we give you the necessary information to implement it on the website. The implementation on the website is extremely simple. Okay, we integrate it in good website, but in some bad website too. And bad website have been able to handle the integration perfectly fine too. So it's easy.
Thank you. That's good. All right, so back down to this slide. Now, if anyone has any questions, we're coming up towards the end of the webinar. Please feel free to ask and we can answer them. My section of the next steps is, how do you get more online traffic? Now, there's a couple of steps. If you are someone who does not work with us currently, a really good way to do it is, first of all, to ask the question, well, how am I going at the moment? And we have a service called, we've written it here, an online performance assessment, which is $375. And that's actually assesses your current, it's a snapshot of your current performance. And it's a particularly useful report. You can take that report and you can take it to your own web developer and ask them to improve your website based on what we've said. You can do it yourself. Some people do it themselves, or you can come to us and say, yeah, we want a website because we can see how our performance needs to be improved. The three areas that we would then work on would be improving your website, obviously. One of the things, it's got to be mobile friendly. There's a whole bunch of things it needs to do. Increasingly, we're putting good quality content on the website to help Google understand who you are. One of the things that Julian mentioned before was that he said that we want the booking system to be sitting on the clinic website. The reason for that is because if you tell Google who you are clearly, and this is my message I say to you guys all the time, Google will put new people in touch with you. The problem is when you don't make it clear to Google what you do. And there's a lot of work you can do on your website to improve that. And that's why we talk about building a relationship with Google. So your website, your domain builds a relationship with Google. The more Google trusts and understands you, the more people Google's going to put in touch with you. So that's why it's important to improve your website. The next area is Google AdWords, which you would have heard of probably, which is where you pay Google for ads that appear at the top of the screen. You saw it on a previous slide. It's very cost effective if it's run well. And lastly is Google My Business, which is your map area. And that will generate as many calls as a good website if it's set up properly. So they'd be the three main areas we would work on. But if you haven't done anything and you're not sure, someone said to me once, why would I spend any money on my website when I don't even know what it's doing, James? And that's why the online performance assessment is very useful. All right, so I'm just going to check and see whether we have any more questions to go now. Oh, here we go. There's a good question for you, Julian, from Jane. It says, can VetStory be used with all PMSs, e.g. Cornerstone?
Okay, so no. But regarding Cornerstone, Cornerstone is IDEX. We already, IDEX is one of our main partners in Europe. So we are partnering with IDEX and Imana. It's a very big partners for us in Europe. We are currently developing the solution with Cornerstone for Australia and the US. Okay, so not yet, but soon.
Good.
Okay. No, the question of Ellen, which is Pet Yeti the same as Vestoria? No, it's not the same. It's one of our competitor in Australia. Yeah, there are some difference. For example, we're discussing Jim was discussing the integration to the website. The integration is completely different. If you visit Pet Yeti, Pet Yeti is more directing your customer towards a Pet Yeti website and is branded Pet Yeti. For us, we have what we call this widget, which is Vetstoria is integrated in your website. Okay, so that's one of the multiple difference. I will not go into details now because that's probably not the question, but no, Vetstoria is different than Pet Yeti.
And a question from Alex. Thanks, Alex. She says, can this system, which is Vetstory, integrate with VetLink SQL, which I presume is what you're using, Alex?
No, we know very well. I think it's what's his name?
Dev?
Yeah, yes, I know in New Zealand. No, and the reason is that he has already an online booking system. We haven't convinced him when we are working on it. So if you want to, please push him. Okay.
Go for it, Alex.
Yeah, go for it, because he just need to be. We had quite a few requests from the VetLink customer. So really, the way we have done it, and that's why we have more and more PMS joining us, is basically through their customer base. So if the customer of Vetling tell them, look, guys, we really want to use Vetstoria, at some stage they will. I mean, in the case of Vetling, they have an online booking system, but it's probably a little bit less advanced, and he knows it because it's not his core product. We only focus on online booking system.
All right, now I've got a couple more here, and I can answer the first one from Helen. Helen says, is Pet Yeti the same as Vetstoria? And I can say it's not. They're two separate businesses. And you can have a look, Helen, at each of the businesses' websites about what they offer. Thank you, Jane. That's good. And Lawrence says, similarly, Vision VPN. So does Vetstoria work with Vision VPN?
Yeah. So Vision is Henry Schein. We are technically compatible with Vision, and we already work with Henry Schein in the US. We don't have the business agreement with Henry Schein in Australia yet. Well, we have the business agreement with RxWorks. With Vision, not yet. We are working on it. So it's the technology is there. It's just the business agreement, which is not there yet.
So thank you, Julian. So I think the message, guys, is if obviously use Vetstoria if you can, but if you've got a system already and you're built into your PMS, I'd have a look at it, and I'm not suggesting you to definitely use it because I don't know which one you've got, but really have a look at it and consider putting it on your website, because it could make a big difference to how your business operates.
Yeah.
And maybe, Julian, how would you let people know when you can? How would a clinic know if they had Vision, for instance? How would they know that Vetstoria can, when you can actually work with them? Will Vision let the client know?
It really depends of the partner. I mean, for example, IDEX, because we were mentioning that IDEX in Europe, they are actively promoting Vetstoria. This is the agreement with them, and we have with them, and they are very happy with the collaboration. So that's what they do. For example, in the situation of RxWorks, okay, if you speak to your local, your RxWorks representative, I mean, you can ask the question, and they can potentially mention to you the partners that they're working with.
Yep.
In the example of Vision, I can't really respond you at the moment because I said there is no business agreement, but usually I would say PMS representative would be a good contact, and they would be able to tell you. Yeah.
All right, thank you. And I have another question, Julian, for you from Anthony. Does the software have the ability to advise owners of the cost of different price consults for different times of the day?
We can set up different appointment type, okay, and you can, let's say, for example, you have, probably a typical example would be, okay, during the day and then the evening, because it's busier time, you want a different price. You could have a consultation type called, let's say, day consultation and then evening consultation, and yes, displaying the price, different price. Yes, it's possible. I will have to understand a little bit more deeper what he wants, but from what I understand, yes, it's possible.
Anthony, if you do want to ask Julian more details, the next slide, you'll get an email address, or of course you can go to their website and contact them. All right, guys, I think we might end the questions there. There aren't any more there at the moment, so thanks very much for that. It was all very, very good. And I'll just go to our next slide, which is to say thank you. Thank you, Julian. And
well, thanks a lot to everyone to have stayed so late. Well, I don't know exactly what time it is in Australia, but thanks for staying.
It's not too bad. It's well, down where we are, it's not too bad. In fact, everywhere it's all right at the moment.
Okay.
So there's the contact details, which of course you can look it up. And I do encourage you, if you have any questions, to contact Julian directly. And lastly, if you want more traffic, give us a call. Happy to have a chat, find a good solution for you. And on that note, I'd like to say good night. And thanks very much for everyone for joining us. And you'll get a recording as we send that out. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.